Did you know that the United States supported Saddam Hussein? Here he is shaking hands with former Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld. After the 1979 Iranian Revolution against the US-backed Shah, the US was looking for allies in the region who they could use as proxies to attack Iran. This made Saddam Hussein a perfect ally for the West, and he invaded Iran in 1980. The invasion was brutal, and hundreds of thousands of Iranians would be killed in the fighting. Saddam would use chemical weapons given to him by the West both against Iranians and the Kurds, which is ironic considering the US has accused other countries of using chemical gas and launched missiles at them because of it. In 1988, the US would directly involve themselves after gunning down Iranian Flight 655. This was a commercial airliner going from Tehran to Dubai, and 290 civilians were killed in the incident. The gunboat captain who shot it down was then given an award by President George H.W. Bush. The US also began training up Saddam Hussein's nuclear scientists. And fearing more escalations from the US, Iran negotiated a ceasefire in 1988. Then just 2 years later, Saddam would invade Kuwait, thinking that he had the green light from the US. After all, they were boys. He quickly realized that he had made a mistake and angered the US, so he tried to negotiate a settlement for almost 9 months. This was ignored by the American press, but in reality, Saddam was asking for next to nothing. He said that he would leave Kuwait if the US put the Palestinian question higher on their agenda. However, the US ignored this and used the invasion of Kuwait as justification to bomb Iraq to a pre-industrial, near-apocalyptic state. They also lied to the American public, claiming that Iraqi soldiers were taking babies out of incubators and leaving them on the floor to die. US President Bill Clinton would follow up the bombing campaign by placing sanctions on Iraq, which starved 500,000 Iraqi children to death. His Secretary of State, Madeleine Albright, would later say that this was worth it on 60 Minutes. Then, of course, the US would invade and occupy Iraq in 2003 using 9/11 as justification, even though Saddam Hussein had nothing to do with 9/11. And it just goes to show how the Western imperialists will use people like pawns and then throw them in the trash when they no longer need them. And the people who really suffer from this are the working masses who fight these wars on behalf of the rich. So many people had to die so that the US could control the oil reserves and other valuable resources in the Middle East. It's all the more reason to overthrow our government and implement a socialist workers' state.